I'm Steve, this is Fran. Today we're going to talk about French ranges. French ranges has become more popular. I guess it's because everyone thinks the French know how to cook. It doesn't mean if you're an American chef, you should buy a French range. But the one thing you got to give the French is it's beautiful, beautiful products. You know, we have Aga and La Cornue, the Aga with that cross handle. I mean, I'm almost afraid to cook at it. Like, it's so good, and the colors are so bold and rich, and you know, so that's really one of the reasons to buy it. But very different. You know, we'll go over. We're doing Aga, La Cornue,
and Lacanche.
Lacanche, CornuFé as well. Okay. All right. Where do you want to start?
So let's start with Aga. So, like you said, Aga is definitely a really kind of unique product in the sense of the look, but also the value. Like when you compare some of these, you definitely see certain price points, and they can be all over the place. Aga gives you a lot of great options, but still at a great price point, like 48-inch induction, for example. And really, we're looking at kind of like their Mercury and their Elise lines there. They have the 48-inch induction range, which you can get in 12 different colors, different trims, full top, like unique ovens in there. And you're talking like 10, 11 grand for a 48-inch induction range. Pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I have a checkered past with Aga. That, before it was Aga was actually invented by an actual inventor who blew himself up and blinded himself. So he created the Aga range. So because he couldn't obviously see the dials and check the temperature, so it was an always-on range, and that's how we sold it. And it was like we had it in the showroom, and it was like during the summer, it was monstrously hot. And there was one person who could actually vent it because they had that flue vent.
Yeah.
Right. So they got rid of all that. Middleby took over, and now it's they still have the cast iron look if you want their classic.
Yeah.
But the Elise is the one that sells. And nice thing about it, I guess, is if you like to broil, they've got that separate broiler drawer that folds down.
Yeah, slide out broiler, restaurant style.
And it's got swing doors. And I like a swing door because you don't have to lift a turkey up over a door, right? And you're directly inside the oven. So I really like the swing doors. The problem I have with this oven, they got the one, the Mercury is cheaper, and it's got Mercury written on it. And, so I happen to like the Elise because I'm more minimalist. But you're only getting 5 burners with it.
Yep.
No bridges, right? So it is cheaper, but you are losing some features. And the ovens are only 2.8 cubic feet. So really, once again, you may love this or you may hate this. And really, I always tell people when I sold here in the dark ages was not so quite dark. But anyway, to bring your pans in to make sure that it actually work for you. But I like the color. Price is good. The top could be better, depending on how you use it. And the ovens are very convenient. The boiler's very convenient. But this is something you have to look at and touch before you buy. No question.
Definitely. And like you said, on that 48, you kind of get the 2 separate convection. When you're looking at like other 48-inch ranges too, like a traditional pro range, I'd say both ovens, they definitely come smaller, but you probably get a little bit more space than you would kind of like that companion oven, but that also makes the bigger oven not quite as big as some of the others. But they do a good job kind of breaking it out, still giving you some storage and a lot of different options there too. So it's certainly a good option to look at.
Yeah, the ovens are 2.8. On like the bigger Fisher Paykel that just came out was 4.8, 2.1.
Yeah.
However, the Fisher Paykel is only 3.8 usable, right? So that's another range you got to bring your pans in to see if it works. But I like the range. I mean, first of all, it's going to look great in your kitchen in a color, and especially with the cross handle type.
Yeah,
it fits that, like for those people that are doing that traditional with the farmhouse sink and everything else. This really does a really beautiful job of fitting in stylistically, I think.
Yeah.
For that, I'll give it, for that price, and if you like the swing doors, I'll give it an A.
Yeah,
certainly not the best, but for a certain type of person, this is a really good range.
Yeah, we're talking like these are really 36 and 48 inches. I totally agree. I'd give that an A.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into La Cornue. And within La Cornue, there's kind of 2 series that we'll talk about. We'll talk about CornuFé first, and then we'll jump into kind of their Château. So on CornuFé, would be definitely the one that's more comparable to the Aga. So they offer this in a 36-inch and a 43-inch, which is definitely a unique size in the American market, not your standard size. So certainly something to be aware of there. What are your thoughts?
I don't think too much of the 43-inch. Now, if you're going to put a 43-inch stove in your kitchen, it's going to be a custom kitchen, or you're going to put it somewhere not in a bank of cabinets, because there's no such thing as a 43-inch cabinet. It'd have to be totally custom. But again, this is kind of an Aga. Actually, Aga and CornuFé are pretty much made very similarly. They're owned by the same company, as is La Cornue. I think about this about as much as I do the Aga. Although I do like the Aga from a sizing standpoint a little bit better. I like the swing doors better than I like the side doors. I like the colors on this. Now they have the 50 colors. They're allowing you to special order colors as well. I like CornuFé. I think I like Aga just a little bit better.
I agree. I think they're very similar, very comparable, owned by the same overall company. I just think you get a better value with the Aga looking at that. And even we're not really talking about the hoods, but both these brands offer hoods as well that can match those ranges to kind of complete that look. And both offer really kind of, I'd say Aga kind of value-wise is really nice there.
Yeah, in Aga you can totally customize that hood. Like for people that are living in the city and got short ceilings, you can cut that hood down, whereas typically it's 18 or 30 inch, or it's under cabinet at like 6. Yeah. So you could, if you've got like a 7-foot or 7.5 foot ceiling, you can cut that down a little bit. So it's totally customizable in Aga. I like the CornuFé. We've been selling it fine. It's it's probably another A or B, I would say.
Yeah, I think an A for the CornuFé. Sure. Now let's talk about Château. So this is going to be really different. So it's still part of the La Cornue family. Château, now these are fully customizable. So you're not picking a range off the shelf. You are customizing everything from the top, the color, the trim, the potential for cabinetry on the side of these things. Very different price point from where we're talking about really for both of these.
Yeah, this is probably the best range we sell. Asterisk, because it's what, a $30,000 minimum order or something like that.
Minimum,
and you can buy them up to 80 inches wide
with the cabinets on the side.
The cabinets on the side, you can buy them in, but really you can do anything. And the nice thing if you like to cook is you can get a gas oven, and gas is better for a moisture heat for roasts, and you can get it an electric oven, which is better for baking, right? So you could have both, which is something you can't do in anything else. The colors are spectacular. And the top, you can get induction, you can get tabanaki, you can get grill, really anything you want.
And all at the same time together, depending on the size. So you could have a gas, you can have the French top, you can have an induction burner. So you could really kind of space that out to have a little bit of kind of what you want in there and kind of not have all gas, not have all induction, but be able to kind of really separate that out.
Yeah, you can do anything with this range. For that, I'll give it an S. From a price point, well, from a price, I mean, this is probably 3 times more expensive than anything we sell, if not more.
Absolutely.
Right? If not more. So, if you want something totally custom, you love to cook, and, this kitchen's an investment, and you love bold colors and really exceptional trims like the hammer trims they have, best range we sell. Problem is that it's expensive.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll go with an S, but
give it an
certainly
S.
make sure you're checking the price point.
Yeah, make sure you check
absolutely.
the price.
All right, last one. Let's talk about Lacanche.
Lacanche reminds me a lot of Aga.
Definitely.
Only with larger ovens, right? So you're going to get an oven up to 70, 80, 90 inches in a Lacanche. You have some customization. Like a La Cornue, you have some customizable options. So like a cross between an Aga and a La Cornue, but nowhere near built as well as a La Cornue. But nowhere near as priced as a La Cornue. I like the range. The problem with Lacanche is, at least in our area, I'm not sure who fixes it.
Right.
And that's a problem. Again, shouldn't be as much a problem because you're not getting much in the way of clocks and electronics in any of these ranges. But still, when it goes, you're going to need someone specialized and trained in how to fix it. And those are few and far between in all the other brands. So really what makes any of these A, B, or C is checking in your area to see who does what.
Exactly.
Because that changes.
And that's the big thing with Lacanche is really the service part of it. You can go to their site and look at the servicers and see who they list. Like we always say, call them. Absolutely. See if they actually know how to fix that range. This is far different than a GE range or a or anything like that. This is completely different. And if you go on their website and you look at it, we've talked about this before. It's like, they're going to give you troubleshooting tips right on their website, how to replace the igniter. Like most premium brands are not doing that because they want servicers to do that to make sure it's done properly. So that's the one thing you got to be really careful on. It's certainly a unique range. It's a very good looking range, absolutely. Good value, very good looking.
Looks like the cross handles and the larger sizes and some customizations good, asterisk, at least with the top three, Middleby supporting it, which is an American company. You would think that would be better. But I still like the range.
Absolutely. Just the services, but kind of makes you a little nervous. What do you think, rating wise?
Well, I think it's an A range, but I think the service pushes it to a B plus, perhaps. All right. Can we do pluses?
Listen, we can make up the rules. Why not? We're going B plus.
B plus. Okay, that's it for French ranges. If you like the ranking videos, click the subscribe, and thanks for watching.